This is your world's apex predator? The Zenkari ambassador's mandibles clicked in a rhythmic pattern, a gesture universally understood as mockery. He gestured dismissively at the hologram of a great white shark gliding silently through simulated waters. A creature with nothing but sharp teeth and instinct? How quaint. The air in the chamber grew heavy. Humanity's representatives stiffened, but Dr. Eliza Markov, the lead scientist on Earth's delegation, remained unfazed. Her expression was calm, almost bemused as she studied the ambassador. "Ambassador Ziller," she began, her voice measured, "perhaps you're focusing on the wrong aspects of this creature." Ziller's multifaceted eyes shifted toward her, his amusement undiminished. "There is nothing to focus on. This is a mindless beast relying solely on aggression to survive. It is as unremarkable as the primitive world that spawned it." Markov's colleagues exchanged uneasy glances, but she held her ground. "Survival on Earth is neither simple nor mindless. Every species here has earned its place through relentless adaptation, and the shark is a testament to that." Ziller clicked his mandibles again, the sound sharp and derisive. "Adaptation, you say? It swims, it bites, it eats. I fail to see the ingenuity in such simplicity." Markov allowed herself a small smile. "Its strength isn't in complexity. It lies in its perfection. Over 400 million years, the shark has outlasted cataclysms that wiped out countless other life forms. It has no natural predators, only challenges it continuously overcomes." Intrigued, though still dismissive, Ziller leaned closer to the hologram. "And yet, your species thrives alongside this so-called apex predator. How did fragile beings like you manage to avoid extinction?" The faintest flicker of amusement crossed Markov's face. "By becoming something far more dangerous." The Zenkari delegation grew quiet, their mockery momentarily subdued. Markov gestured toward the hologram as it transitioned to display a cross-section of shark anatomy, revealing intricate sensory organs and a dense muscular structure. "The shark isn't just a predator. It's a machine fine-tuned by nature itself. It detects the faintest electrical fields, senses movement from miles away, and strikes with unerring precision. And yet, humanity did more than survive in its shadow. We thrived." Ziller straightened, his tone still skeptical. "And now you wish to present this creature as proof of your species' worth? It is an inefficient, primitive design, and I fail to see how it reflects the greatness of your people." Markov stepped forward, her calm demeanor sharpening. "The shark isn't just an apex predator. It's a mirror. It represents the environment we evolved in, a world that demands adaptation, resilience, and ingenuity. You see it as primitive because you've never had to face such challenges." The ambassador waved a claw, signaling his disinterest. "This demonstration is amusing but ultimately irrelevant. Your species may have survived your world, but among the stars, survival requires more than instincts." Markov's smile widened, though her tone stayed neutral. "Perhaps. But instincts are a good place to start." As the Zenkari delegation left the room, still muttering their derision, Markov turned to her colleagues, her voice low. "They don't understand what survival means on Earth. Not yet." Hours later, in the deep silence of their starship, the Zenkari initiated a covert mission to capture one of these primitive predators for further study. What followed would shatter their assumptions, and their arrogance, forever. The Zenkari vessel hovered silently above Earth's oceans, its sleek, crystalline hull reflecting the moonlight. Inside, a team of alien researchers worked with calculated precision, their focus trained on a live feed from the depths. Below, a great white shark prowled the waters, its streamlined body cutting effortlessly through the current. "This specimen appears to exhibit no extraordinary behavior," noted Chief Researcher Velik, his multifaceted eyes scanning the data stream. "Its movements are predictable, its patterns simplistic. Hardly the apex predator your human scientists claim it to be." "Proceed with containment," ordered Ambassador Ziller, observing from the command station. He had no patience for human theatrics. This creature, like its creators, would be dissected and catalogued, its secrets revealed, its myths debunked. A high-frequency pulse was sent into the water, designed to disorient and immobilize the shark. The alien researchers watched as the predator slowed, its movements faltering. A retrieval drone descended, extending metallic arms to encase the creature in a field of energy. The shark thrashed weakly, its body seemingly subdued. "Simple," Velik said with satisfaction. "Begin extraction." The drone rose from the ocean, the shark suspended in its energy field. It was transported to the Zenkari's onboard research lab, where it was deposited into a reinforced containment tank filled with salt water. The alien team gathered, their tools and instruments gleaming as they prepared to study the specimen. "Observe," Velik said, activating a device that projected a holographic overlay of the shark's anatomy. "Primitive. Note the reliance on musculature and basic neural pathways. Its sensory organs, while unique, are entirely localized. Inefficient." As he spoke, the shark remained motionless, its body floating in the tank. Ziller approached the glass, his mandibles clicking in quiet disdain. "This is the creature humans revere? A sluggish, overgrown fish? Their awe of it speaks volumes about their mediocrity." A low hum began to emanate from the containment tank. The researchers paused, their instruments detecting a subtle shift in the shark's vitals. Its gills flared and its tail twitched. Slowly, its eyes, dark, ancient, and unblinking, fixed on the figures outside the tank. "What is this?" Velik muttered, checking his instruments. "The tranquilization field should hold." "It cannot." The shark moved. Not in a panicked flurry but with deliberate, calculated force. Its tail struck the side of the tank, sending a ripple through the water. The alien researchers exchanged uncertain glances as the creature's movements grew stronger, more coordinated. Its body twisted with shocking power, slamming against the tank's walls. "Reinforce the containment," Ziller barked. Alarms blared as the shark's thrashing intensified. Cracks began to spiderweb across the glass, the energy field flickering under the strain. Before the Zenkari could react, the tank shattered. Salt water flooded the lab as the shark surged forward, jaws snapping with lethal precision. Chaos erupted as the researchers scrambled to contain the breach. One drone was shredded instantly, its metal fragments scattering across the floor. "Impossible," Velik shouted, retreating. But the shark's primal instincts had taken over. It was no longer just a specimen, it was a reminder of a world where survival belonged to the relentless. As the Zenkari evacuated the lab, Ziller stared at the destruction, his confidence shaken. "This thing," he muttered, "is no mindless beast." And deep within the shattered lab, the shark circled, unrelenting and alive, a creature born of Earth's brutal wisdom, teaching its first lesson to the stars. The Zenkari High Research Council convened aboard the command vessel, their usually confident demeanor tinged with unease. The containment breach and subsequent escape of the great white shark had rattled their pride. For the first time in centuries, they were confronted by a creature whose behavior defied their understanding. Ambassador Ziller stood at the center of the chamber, mandibles clicking in frustration. "Explain to me how a primitive organism overpowered our containment systems. Was it an error in protocol? A malfunction in the equipment?" Chief Researcher Velik, still nursing a minor injury from the incident, shifted uncomfortably. "There were no malfunctions, Ambassador. The specimen displayed an unprecedented level of strength and adaptability. It seems we underestimated its resilience." Ziller's eyes glimmered with annoyance. "Underestimated? You said it was simple, a creature bound by instinct." Velik hesitated before responding. "Instinct, yes. But we failed to account for how finely tuned that instinct is. The shark's physiology is a perfect survival mechanism, honed by millions of years of evolution. Its senses are sharper than we imagined. Its reaction to captivity suggests an awareness of its environment that surpasses basic predatory behavior." The council murmured among themselves, their pride giving way to curiosity. One of the senior researchers interjected, "We analyzed the data from the event. The shark's response to the tranquilization pulse was delayed, but not neutralized. It seems its neural pathways adapted in real time, compensating for the disorientation." Velik nodded. "Precisely. And its escape was not random. It targeted the weakest points in the containment system, almost as if it assessed the structure before acting." A heavy silence fell over the chamber. The implications were unsettling. A creature that acted with such precision could not be dismissed as a mere brute. "This warrants deeper analysis," Ziller finally said, though his tone betrayed his reluctance to admit defeat. "What else does your research reveal about this creature?" Velik activated a holographic display, showcasing a detailed scan of shark DNA. "The genetic structure of the great white is remarkably stable. Unlike many species that mutate frequently, sharks have maintained their essential design for hundreds of millions of years. They are not only survivors, they are the blueprint for survival." Another researcher leaned forward, scrutinizing the data. "This stability, does it have potential applications?" Velik hesitated before answering. "Potentially. If harnessed, its genetic resilience could be adapted for use in bioweapons, medicine, or even environmental engineering. But such experiments would be dangerous. Ziller's mandibles twitched. Dangerous? Are you suggesting this creature poses a threat beyond its physical capabilities? Velik's gaze was steady. I am suggesting, Ambassador, that humanity has lived alongside such predators for millennia. They have studied them, learned from them, and even mirrored their strategies. If this is what their oceans produce, imagine what their species is capable of. The chamber fell into uneasy silence. Ziller glanced at the holographic data, his arrogance beginning to erode under the weight of this revelation. Continue your research, he commanded. And keep me informed. If humanity has truly modeled itself after creatures like this, we may have underestimated more than just a predator. The Zenkari command vessel drifted silently in low Earth orbit, its once proud crew now subdued by an unsettling realization. For all their technological superiority, they had underestimated Earth and its inhabitants. The predator they had dismissed as primitive had proven otherwise, forcing them to confront a darker, more dangerous truth about the humans who had evolved alongside it. In the research chamber, Chief Researcher Velik stood before a panel of glowing holograms. These displayed humanity's history, focusing on their relationship with the planet's apex predators. The room was tense, the silence broken only by the soft hum of the ship's systems. Ambassador Ziller loomed nearby, his translucent exoskeleton refracting the dim light. His usual air of arrogance had been replaced by a quiet, simmering unease. Continue, Ziller ordered. His voice, though calm, betrayed a note of urgency. Show me why this matters. Velik gestured at one of the holograms, which shifted to display historical footage of human encounters with sharks. Grainy images of fishermen pulling massive creatures from the ocean morphed into vivid records of diverse swimming mere meters away from the predators. Unlike most intelligent species, humans did not retreat from their apex predators, Velik explained. They confronted them. At first with primitive tools, spears and nets. Then with ingenuity. They studied these predators, learned their patterns, and adapted their strategies. The hologram shifted again, displaying shark-proof cages, sonar technology, and detailed research logs. Over time, humans transformed fear into knowledge and knowledge into power. They found ways to dominate creatures that should have dominated them. Ziller tilted his head, mandibles clicking softly. Survival, then, is their defining trait. But many species survive without becoming a threat to others. True, Velik replied, but humans did more than survive. They thrived in an environment that forced them to confront danger at every turn. Sharks are not the only apex predators on their planet. Earth is home to large felines, venomous reptiles, and even cooperative hunters like wolves. Each challenged humanity in different ways. And each time humanity adapted. Ziller's glowing eyes narrowed as Velik continued. This pattern of adaptation has shaped them. Their history is one of relentless evolution, not just physically but mentally. They turned their predators' strengths into their own. The same traits that make the shark an apex predator, awareness, precision, resilience, are reflected in humanity. The ambassador remained silent, his gaze fixed on the holograms. Velik hesitated before activating another display. This one showed classified data they had intercepted, records of human experiments. Genetic modifications, nanotechnology infused with predatory traits, and weaponized biological adaptations. This, Velik said, his voice low, is the next stage of their evolution. Humanity is not content to merely survive. They are mastering the very forces that shape their predators. Ziller turned sharply, his mandibles clicking in agitation. Do they mean to use this against us? Velik didn't answer immediately. When he finally spoke, his voice was heavy with warning. If pushed, I believe they would. Earth is not just a death world, it is a forge. And humanity has been tempered in its fires. The room fell into an uneasy silence. Ziller's mandibles twitched as he stared at the data, his confidence eroded. We must reassess, he muttered. Humanity is not what we thought it was. Far below, the oceans churned, hiding their secrets in the depths. But it wasn't the predators of the seas that the Zenkari feared now, it was the apex predator of the stars. The Zenkari research vessel's core lab was silent, the atmosphere tense as a series of holographic projections shimmered in the dim light. Data streams scrolled rapidly across the displays, genetic blueprints, tactical reports, and intercepted communications. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Ziller, his luminous eyes fixed on the unsettling implications of what lay before him. This is no longer a matter of curiosity, Ziller declared, his voice cold and clipped. Humanity's advancements in genetic engineering and weaponization are a direct threat to the Concord. If these experiments continue, their potential could rival even our own. Chief Researcher Velik stepped forward, visibly uneasy. Ambassador, it's not just the technology. It's their intent. The experiments aren't just about survival, they're about dominance. A flick of Ziller's claw expanded the holographic display. The intercepted data revealed a classified Earth initiative, codenamed Project Apex, focused on incorporating the traits of Earth's most efficient predators into human soldiers. Shark-inspired sensory enhancements, cheetah-like speed, and even the pack-hunting instincts of wolves were among the augmentations under development. This is what they've been doing behind the facade of peace, Ziller muttered, mandibles twitching with agitation. They're not preparing for coexistence. They're preparing for conquest. Velik hesitated before responding. It's not that simple, Ambassador. Humanity doesn't operate like most species. They didn't create these advancements to attack. They created them because they anticipate conflict. Earth's history has shaped them into a species that prepares for the worst, even when it's not imminent. Then they are more dangerous than I thought, Ziller snapped. A species that assumes hostility will always escalate it. The ambassador turned to another researcher. What of the demonstration footage? What did we recover? A smaller hologram flickered to life, showing a human military test site. Soldiers moved in coordinated formations, their movements unnaturally fluid and precise. Sensors embedded in their suits amplified their reactions, while bioengineered enhancements gave them superhuman speed and strength. At the edge of the frame, an observer controlled a drone shaped like a predatory bird, its movements eerily lifelike as it scanned the terrain. Notice their coordination, Velik said, gesturing to the display. They've combined natural predatory traits with their own technological ingenuity. These aren't soldiers, they're predators in human form. The demonstration reached its climax as the soldiers neutralized their simulated targets with chilling efficiency. One soldier, enhanced with shark-inspired reflexes, detected a hidden drone before it could attack and destroyed it in a single, calculated strike. Ziller's mandibles clicked rapidly, a rare sign of visible distress. This changes everything. The Concord must be informed. Earth cannot be allowed to progress unchecked. Ambassador, Velik said cautiously, consider the ramifications of provoking humanity. Their history is defined by their response to threats. If they feel cornered, they won't hesitate to use these advancements. Ziller turned to face him fully, his translucent exoskeleton glinting in the dim light. Then we must strike first before they become unstoppable. Earth is no longer a curiosity, it is a liability. In the silence that followed, the decision seemed inevitable. The Zenkari would act, believing their superiority could still overwhelm this nascent predator species. Yet deep in his core, Ziller couldn't shake a nagging doubt. Far below, Earth's oceans continued to churn, their depths hiding predators shaped by relentless evolution. But it wasn't the creatures of the sea the Zenkari needed to fear. It was the species that had learned to become something far deadlier. The Zenkari fleet hung in orbit above Earth, a silent testament to interstellar might. Hundreds of crystalline ships, bristling with advanced weaponry, formed an imposing wall of dominance. On the bridge of the command vessel, Ambassador Ziller stood motionless, staring down at the blue and green planet with a mix of apprehension and resolve. All systems operational, a technician reported, his voice steady but tinged with unease. Orbital suppression array is ready to fire on your command. Ziller's mandibles clicked softly as he considered the next steps. This was not how the Galactic Concord usually handled emerging species. Peaceful integration was the norm, but Earth was different. Humanity had shown itself to be unpredictable, adaptive, and disturbingly capable of turning its planet's fiercest predators into tools for survival, and now into weapons. They will resist, Ziller said, breaking the silence. But resistance is futile against us. We will strike quickly and decisively. Earth's defenses will fall before they can retaliate. Chief Researcher Velik, standing nearby, hesitated before speaking. Ambassador, may I remind you that underestimating them has already cost us? Their response, if we miscalculate, could prove catastrophic. Ziller's eyes narrowed. Humanity is a primitive species on a death world. Their ingenuity is impressive but limited. We have the technological advantage. Do we? Velik countered, his voice quieter. Or are we walking into a trap set by predators we do not yet understand? The ambassador dismissed the concern with a wave of his claw. Proceed with the operation. As the fleet began its descent into Earth's atmosphere, Their sensors detected no immediate signs of resistance. It was almost too quiet. The first volley of orbital suppression beams fired, targeting Earth's largest cities. From the Zenkari perspective, the attack was precise, calculated, an overwhelming display of power designed to cripple Earth's infrastructure without total annihilation. But Earth had been waiting. The counterattack began not with weapons but with deception. Humanity had masked its true defenses under layers of electronic interference and false signals, a tactic borrowed from its predatory forebears. By the time the Zenkari fleet realized the trap, it was too late. A coordinated barrage of kinetic projectiles, launched from hidden satellites and ground-based railguns, struck the outer perimeter of the fleet. Unlike energy-based weapons, these projectiles were nearly impossible to intercept. Several Zenkari ships disintegrated in silent explosions as the assault began. Impossible? Ziller shouted, gripping the edge of his command console. They don't have the resources for this level of defense. But they did. Humanity had spent decades preparing for the possibility of hostile extraterrestrial contact. Their experiments with predator-inspired strategies had extended far beyond biology. Military tactics honed from centuries of warfare, combined with the ruthlessness of nature's hunters, had created a defensive system designed to exploit weaknesses in any opponent, no matter how advanced. The Zenkari fleet regrouped, preparing to retaliate. Yet every move they made seemed anticipated. Earth's forces struck where the fleet was weakest, their tactics mirroring the precision and efficiency of apex predators. Camouflage drones mimicked the behavior of pack hunters, harrying isolated ships. Heat-seeking missiles tracked energy signatures with the relentless focus of predators locking onto prey. On board the command vessel, Ziller's confidence unraveled. "Withdraw the fleet," he ordered, his voice sharp with desperation. "Regroup above the planet's magnetic field." But as the fleet began its retreat, Earth revealed its final weapon. From the depths of the oceans, a hidden submarine fleet surfaced, launching specialized torpedoes coated with experimental alloys derived from shark dentition. These torpedoes sliced through the Zenkari ships with surgical precision. In the chaos, Ziller realized too late that Earth's true strength was not its technology, but its ability to adapt its environment, and its predators, to war. By the end of the battle, only a fraction of the Zenkari fleet remained. Ziller, humbled and shaken, stared at the ruined remains of his once mighty armada. He activated the ship's communicator, broadcasting a message to Earth. "We yield," he said, his voice devoid of the arrogance that once defined him. "Humanity has proven its strength. The Zenkari will retreat and leave your world in peace." On the other end of the transmission, Dr. Eliza Markov appeared on the screen. Her expression was calm, but her eyes betrayed the cold calculation of someone who had just won a battle on humanity's terms. "Ambassador Ziller," she said, "let this be a lesson. Earth is not a world to be conquered. We are a world that endures, that adapts, and that strikes back when threatened. Tell your Concord that we desire peace, but we are prepared for war." Ziller bowed his head, his defeat complete. "You have my word." As the battered Zenkari fleet limped back into deep space, Earth's leaders convened in secret. Markov, standing before a panel of military officials, delivered her final assessment. "This victory is not the end," she warned. "It is a beginning. The galaxy now knows we are here and they will test us again. But today we proved that humanity is more than the sum of its parts. We are not prey. We are predators." And deep within the oceans, sharks continued their silent patrol, their ancient instincts mirrored in the species that had risen above them. Earth remained a death world, but now it was also something more. A symbol of resilience, adaptation, and a future that no one in the galaxy could ignore.